There is an abundance of resources on Genesis 1 Ascendant, and in this video I will show you where to find them all. From element over metal to electronics, I make sure that you are finding what you're looking for. Hello Dodo crew and welcome back to another video on Ark Survival Ascendant. Grab a bottle of water and let's get straight into it. In the lunar biome, you can get slot caps of wood, stone and crystal with a single hit of a beaver or fairy. That's why I'd like to start the video by talking about the lunar biome. Here, you can basically farm everything you need with a fairy, mammoth or beaver. Yes, you heard right, with a berry farmer. If you're using a fairy, just level it into damage and weight and then use delicate harvest. All around the lunar biome, especially in these small and large lunar caves, there are different bushes that yield either wood, vetch, fiber, sap, stone, crystal and rare mushrooms. You can easily farm these with a fairy, and it's 1,000 times easier than any other method for farming wood. These small, blue glowing plants yield crystal and stone, the yellow glowing ones yield sap and fiber, and the spiky rocks yield wood and vetch. This means you can farm everything you need to build a base with just a single hit. With a fairy, you're actually always slot capped after just one hit. You can also find the bushes outside the caves and simply farm them by hitting them. You can use a beaver too, and it will be capped with just one hit. By the way, I'm at around 10k subs. My goal is to hit 20k subs by the end of the year. So if you enjoy these guides, hitting subscribe would really help. As a thank you, I'm giving away 3 Tides of Fortune DLCs. Just subscribe, leave a comment and post a screenshot as proof in my giveaway channel on Discord. The winner will be drawn at the end of the month. Good luck! The mining drill is one of the best tools you can get on Genesis. In many cases from Genesis 1 Ascendant onwards, it is easier to craft a mining drill than to acquire creatures and use them for farming. It runs on gasoline and can harvest almost every resource in the game, including metal, crystal, obsidian, stone, wood and plenty more. It's much faster than using normal tools and gathers a lot more resources, making it perfect for farming large amounts quickly. One thing to note is that it also deals a small amount of damage to structures. It's nowhere near explosives, but it can eventually break things if you really need it to. If you're farming underwater, remember that you can't use the mining drill while being submerged. You can still drill underwater resource nodes, but only if you're above the water and the node is below the surface. Overall, if you can get your hands on one early, the mining drill is easily one of the biggest quality of life upgrades in Genesis 1. There's currently no better map than Genesis 1 Ascendant for getting element shards. The amount you can farm here is insane and it's so easy. There are 2 methods you can use. The best overall is to take a mining drill and a magmasaurus in the volcanic biome and then mine the small purple crystals with the mining drill. Climb the slopes of the volcano in the volcanic biome. They are farmed from red crystals, which can be found along the trails leading to the top of the volcano. Finding them can be risky, especially if the volcano erupts whilst you are up there. You can find smaller clusters outside the volcanic cave that you can simply farm. However, most crystals are found in the area where the magmasaur eggs are, which means it's more dangerous there and you should be well prepared. Element shards can also be found throughout any rock in the lunar biome. Element shards in the lunar biome can only be farmed on foot using either a metal pickaxe, an Anki or a mining drill. In the lunar, it's quite easy to farm shards, especially in the endgame. With a skiff, you can simply grab your Anki and transport it from cluster to cluster to farm the stones there, as the skiff can carry a lot and the Anki also benefits from weight reduction. But the easiest way right now is simply to use a mining drill. Farming element in Genesis is a bit trickier, but once you've got the hang of most steps, it's actually quite straightforward. The problem is that you can't farm element on Gen 1 in the beginning. You can either farm dust in the lunar biome and then craft element by hand, or farm shards on the volcano or the lunar, and then craft them into dust in the mega lab before crafting them into element. But the conversion rate here is extremely bad and you lose a lot of element in the process. As soon as you've got your first 100 element, you should build a replicator straight away, so you can convert the shards into element at a 1:1 ratio, thereby avoiding wasting so much element. Alternatively, you can farm missions and then buy your element from the hexagon shop. However, this is relatively expensive and you have to pay 1000 hexagons per element, which doesn't really pay off in the long run, unless you're part of a larger tribe and can grind difficult missions. Metal is tricky, as I'm not sure which spot is actually the best. I'll now show you one by one all the spots I found so far that I think are worth farming and then give my thoughts on them. With a donkey, you can repeatedly find relatively large clusters of metal in the ocean at around 50-50, in the nicer part of the ocean. These are a bit hidden, so you should have the tracker ability, but here you can easily place vacuum compartments and then farm the metal rocks with the donkey. At the same time, there's also plenty of corals there that yield a lot of metal when farmed, which helps making up for the metal if those clusters are too small. If you do this, you'll also pick up a fair amount of stone and flint at the same time. In the lunar region, where we farmed the shards, you can farm a really large amount of metal from these stones. It's quite easy to farm using the skiff or the mining drill, allowing you to farm several things at once. The volcano is also a great place to farm metal. There is a path leading from the top down, and along this path you will repeatedly find large quantities of metal rocks that you can simply farm. You will also find plenty of element shards scattered amongst these rocks. The same applies to the mountain in the Arctic. There, in addition to metal, you will also find crystal, obsidian and oil. Are you tired of playing alone on a dead server? Sick of lag, wipes and admins who never show up? Then it's time to join TBS. Enough of this nonsense, we've seen it all before. It's still TBS, tougher, better, stronger, and you can win real money if you're the best. Links are in the description. I'll see you on the cluster. At last, there's a really good spot for electronics, the lunar biome. Only tech creatures spawn here, and when you harvest them, they yield metal, oil, electronics and element dust. You could just do a meat run, but honestly I think it's better to kill the creatures with something that doesn't harvest them, because if you farm them with a chainsaw, they give up to 3 times as much electronics as if you were to eat them with a Rex, for example. It's best to use a creature that's relatively mobile. I tried it a bit with a pyromane, as it can jump back and forth between the platforms quite easily and can kill most creatures whilst carrying a lot of loot. It's important to know that the bigger the creature, the more electronics you get when you farm them, and if you use a better chainsaw, you can get even more per corpse. Ambergris can only be farmed in the lunar biome by mining the stones that are scattered around. It's relatively rare, but you need it to raise magma source, so you have to go and collect it from time to time. You get a large amount using a mining drill, pickaxe or an Anki, but be careful, these stones can spoil, which means that if you're collecting magmasaur eggs, you need to collect ambergris at the right time. There are 3 methods you can use to obtain polymer. Unfortunately, Gen 1 isn't great when it comes to it, but we do have a few options. Firstly, you can farm the penguins by the lake in the Arctic. A few penguins spawn near the fishing mission, and you can easily farm them. The good thing here is that it's a mission area, which means you can't build there and the spawns won't get blocked. Unfortunately, penguins aren't that great for farming polymer and they only drop very small amounts. The second option is the lunar or aberration cave in the lunar biome, where Carcinos spawn. you can kill them and use a chainsaw to farm organic polymer. And then, given the abundance of obsidian, there is also the option to simply craft it yourself. You can farm vast quantities of obsidian in the Arctic and the volcano, and then turn it into polymer in the replicator. You can only obtain condensed gas in the lunar biome as a rare drop from element shard rocks. If you use a mining drill here, you'll occasionally get a small amount of condensed gas. Oil really isn't hard to get on Genesis 1, whether you're killing tech creatures or farming the ocean, lunar, volcano or Arctic biomes. You won't find any resource that's as easy to get as oil on Genesis 1. Silica Pearls are super easy to find. You'll still need an angler though. In the middle of the island and all around it in the ocean, at the top right corner of the map, you'll find an insane amount of Silica Pearls. In the center of this island is a small lake that goes extremely deep. Pearls actually spawn here everywhere, and you'll hit your slot cap before you even finished farming them. But if that's not enough, there are plenty more pearls to farm all around the island. It's not just the small pearls you're already familiar with from other maps. There are also large shells hanging on the wall that glow blue. In the middle of the ocean at 50-50, exactly below the mission terminal, there is another good spot. Blue glowing shells are hanging all over the wall and you can easily farm them if you have an angler. Black pearls can only be found in the volcano. You can find them amongst the element crystals and mine them either by hand with a whip or for the best yield with a mining drill. The further you go into the volcano, the more of them spawn, and you will find most of them in the innermost area where the magmasaur eggs also spawn. They are a bit harder to spot as there are obsidian rocks there that look very similar. Cementing paste is really hard to come by in Genesis 1. Here you can only craft the paste yourself using chitin or keratin, or you can farm beaver dams in the Arctic biome. Unfortunately, there are very few dams near the fishing missions right by the penguins, so you're better off farming chitin and skip the dams. Farming keratin is very difficult on Genesis, but chitin is reasonably doable. There are two methods that are good enough to be worth mentioning. Firstly, there's the Karkinos lunar cave, as Karkinos spawn here and when killed with a chainsaw yield a lot of chitin. Not much else actually spawns in this cave, but it's actually easy to farm or even tame Karkinos, because the cave is quite narrow and the Karkinos have trouble moving around. At the moment, however, the cave is still a bit buggy and the Karkinos spawn below the mesh in some places. At some points, you'll even get anti-meshed and teleported out of the cave. That should be fixed quite soon though. Secondly, you can farm a good amount of chitin on the island at 40 and 20. It looks as though there should be a cave here, but there isn't, which is why Atros, scorpions and other creatures that normally spawn in caves appear here. You can farm chitin here if you have a megatherium. You can't farm honey. You can either buy it from the hexagon shop or tame a bee in the bog. They hang around amongst the bloodstalkers, which makes things a bit unpleasant, but there is no getting around it. Genesis 1 is now one of the best maps for getting sap, because you can simply farm the yellow bulbs in the lunar biome in the aberration cave by hand or with a creature, and you will get sap straight away. The sickle doesn't work, but even using your bare hands, you'll get a large amount of sap almost instantly. You can also get sap using a mining drill on trees in the Arctic. To do this, head to the left side of the Arctic, where certain trees will yield sap. If you hit the plants with a fairy, you also have a chance of getting plant species sad seeds, which you can then simply plant. Sulfur is super easy to farm. You will find huge amounts around the volcano, especially in the center and along its outer slopes. Just bring a good harvesting tool or a mining drill and you can fill your inventory in no time. If you're looking for sand, head to the desert theme islands in the ocean biome. The beaches there have plenty of it, making them the best places to stock up. Plant species X seeds can be harvested from the regular islands in the ocean biome. If you don't feel like farming it yourself, you can also buy it directly from the hexagon shop. For both silk and plant species Y, head to the desert islands in the northeast of the ocean biome. You'll find both resources there, making it super convenient to farm. If you need lots of hide, the easiest option is simply farming Ovis. They provide a huge amount compared to most other creatures. The rare flowers are easiest to collect in the Arctic biome, where they are scattered across the landscape. You can farm them by collecting fiber with a fairy, and from time to time you'll also get rare flowers. For rare mushrooms, head to the bog. They are common there and easy to gather in large quantities. Just hit trees and you will get a good amount of rare mushrooms. You can also get them in the lunar biome by farming the crystal bushes. One of the best mixed resource locations is the desert island in the northeast of the ocean biome. You will find crystal, oil, sulfur and obsidian all in one place, making it an excellent stop when you need several resources at once. And for gems, head to the center of the ocean biome. Underwater, directly beneath the mission terminal, you will find air bubbles. Around those bubbles are large amounts of green, blue and red gems, making this by far the easiest place to farm them. If I missed any of the resources, write me a comment, and if there's enough of them, I'll be making a part 2. I hope you liked this video, and I'm thrilled to read if this video has helped you. Hit the like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm and consider subbing to the channel. Alright, Frodo.